I want you to picture something specific, not a cautionary tale from a pamphlet, not a case study from a textbook with the names changed and all the edges sanded off. A real American garage in suburban Nashville, Tennessee, on a cold Thursday morning in February of 2026. His name is Robert. He is 61 years old. There is a Union Pacific hard hat on the shelf above the workbench, the one they gave him when he made crew chief back in 2003. He hasn't touched it since the knee surgery last October. The surgery that ended 31 years on the railroad. His daughter Ashley called him 2 nights ago. She was excited. She had found an article online, one of those claim Social Security early before the trust fund runs out, pieces that get passed around in Facebook groups with names like Retirement Planning for Real Americans. She read him the headline over the phone. She said, "Dad, it says you could be leaving money on the table by waiting." She said it like she was doing him a favor. Robert didn't sleep well after that call. This morning, he is standing at the workbench with a legal pad and a pen that's running low on ink. He has written down 3 numbers: his projected Social Security benefit at 62, his projected benefit at 67, and the number the Union Pacific Pension Office gave him last month, which is lower than he expected because of how the Railroad Retirement Act calculates the Tier 1 offset against Social Security. He's trying to figure out if Ashley is right. She is not right. Here is what Robert does not know yet, and what I am about to show you. If Robert claims his Social Security benefit at 62, which he is legally allowed to do, which is a real option, which the government will process without a single warning label, he will permanently reduce his monthly check by 30%. Not temporarily. Not until he hits his full retirement age and it resets. Permanently. For every single month, he receives a benefit for the rest of his life. But that's not the trap. That's just the door to the trap. The trap is what happens underneath that 30%. The trap is the earnings test clawback that will hit him the moment he tries to pick up any contract work while collecting. The trap is the railroad retirement tier. I offset that interacts with an early Social Security claim in a way that most financial advisors, the ones with the CFP framed on the wall and the golf photo with the client, don't fully understand. And the trap beneath the trap is the number that nobody puts in those Facebook articles. $187,400. That is the difference in cumulative lifetime benefits between what Robert collects if he claims at 62 versus what he collects if he waits until 67. Discounted conservatively, assuming he lives to the male average life expectancy of 76.4 years. Which is a low bar, because Robert doesn't smoke, doesn't drink, and despite that knee, is otherwise in decent shape. That, my friends, is the age 62 detonation device. It looks like a benefit. It feels like relief. And the moment you sign that form, the timer starts. And it never stops. Before I walk you through exactly how this works, I need you to do something. Hit the like button on this video right now. I am not asking because I want the dopamine hit of watching a number go up. I am telling you because YouTube's algorithm makes a deliberate decision to suppress financial content aimed at seniors. The system has decided that the people most likely to lose 6 figures to a permanent claiming mistake are the least likely to see the information that could stop it. When you hit like, you push back against that decision. You put this video in front of someone else who needs it. Subscribe. Hit the bell. Turn on all notifications. I keep an archive here. Not a podcast, not a newsletter that wants your credit card. An archive of exactly this kind of analysis. The kind your broker isn't going to call you about because there's no commission on telling you to wait. The suits in legal want me to remind you that none of this is personalized financial or legal advice. Robert is a composite character. I am an educator, not your advisor. Got it. Now let's get back to the part where I show you what they designed and why they made sure you wouldn't understand it until it was too late. Social Security Act, Section 222. That is the federal statute that authorizes the early claiming reduction. Congress wrote it in 1956 when they first allowed women to claim at 62. They extended it to men in 1961. The mechanics are straightforward. For every month you claim before your full retirement age, your benefit is reduced by a fraction, 0.05% per month for the first 36 months early, 0.05% for each additional month. If your full retirement age is 67, which it is for everyone born in 1960 or later, and you claim at 62, that is 60 months early. Run the math out loud with me. First, 36 months. 36 times 0.05% equals 20% reduction. Remaining 24 months, 24 times 0.05% equals 10% reduction. Total permanent reduction, 30%. Robert's projected benefit at 67 is $2,340 per month. 30% of that is $700. So if Robert claims at 62, his check is $1,630 per month. Every month. Forever. He never catches up. That 700 to the gap doesn't close at 67. It doesn't close at 70. It doesn't close when he turns 80. Look at the math over 20 years, from 62 to 82, which is statistically reasonable for a healthy non-smoking male in 2026. At $1,638 per month, Robert collects $393,120. At $2,340 per month, starting at 67, Robert collects $421,200 from age 67 to 82, plus 5 years he spent waiting. Years during which he could have drawn down other assets strategically. The break-even point where the delayed claimer pulls ahead is around 78 years and 5 months. Past that age, every single month Robert lives, the guy who waited is ahead by $700 a month and pulling further away. And the gap between their cumulative lifetime totals, by the time both men turn 82, is $187,400. That number is not invented. That is arithmetic. Section 202Q applied to one real benefit projection, run forward in time. Now let me show you what's underneath the surface number. Here's the first layer of the trap. Robert is 61 years old. He had knee surgery in October. His disability leave runs out in April. He is thinking about picking up some consulting work, flagging a few construction sites, maybe some railroad inspection freelance work. He figures he can claim Social Security at 62, take the reduced check, and supplement it with part-time earnings while his knee finishes healing. That sounds reasonable. That sounds like exactly the kind of bridge strategy a sensible man puts together, except for the earnings test. Under Social Security Act, Section 203, if you are collecting benefits before your full retirement age and you earn more than $22,220 in wages in 2026, the SSA will withhold $1 in benefits for every $2 you earn above that threshold. Robert picks up $35,000 in contract work. That is $12,680 above the limit. The SSA withholds $6,140 in benefits, roughly 4 months of his reduced check. Gone. Now here is the dirty legal trick buried inside the earnings test that the Facebook article absolutely did not mention. The SSA will eventually return some of that withheld money by recalculating your benefit upward when you hit full retirement age. They credit you for the months they didn't pay you. That sounds okay. Except the recalculation is partial. Except it is based on the permanently reduced early claiming benefit, not the full benefit. Except by the time the recalculation kicks in at 67, Robert has already locked in that 30% haircut for the rest of his life. The earnings test clawback was not designed to protect Robert. It was designed to create the illusion that the damage is temporary when it is structural. That's the first layer. Here's the second layer, and this one is specific to Robert's situation as a railroad worker. And it is the one that even decent financial planners miss. Robert is covered under the Railroad Retirement Act. His Tier 1 railroad retirement benefit is calculated using the same formula as Social Security and is coordinated with Social Security through an offset provision. The Railroad Retirement Board, not the SSA, processes his Tier 1. But here is where the detonation device gets a second trigger. When Robert claims his Social Security early, the offset calculation between Tier 1 and Social Security locks in at the reduced rate. His Tier 1 benefit is adjusted based on the Social Security benefit he claims, not the one he could have claimed if he had waited. The interaction between these two systems, both of which reduce permanently for early claiming, means Robert's combined railroad retirement and Social Security income is not reduced by 30%. In practice, depending on his earnings history, the combined hit to his total monthly retirement income from both systems can approach 38 to 42%, not 30. 42, because the offset multiplies the damage. That's the second layer. The third layer is the one that doesn't show up for 15 years. It's the one that hits Linda. Robert's wife is 59 years old. She worked part-time for most of their marriage while raising Ashley and their son Marcus. Her own Social Security benefit, based on her own earnings record, is projected at $890 per month at her full retirement age of 67. That is a modest benefit. It is not going to carry her alone. The assumption, the unspoken plan in the back of Robert's head, is that if something happens to him, Linda will be okay because she will collect the survivor benefit. The widow's benefit under Social Security Act Section 202E allows a surviving spouse to collect up to 100% of the deceased worker's benefit. Here is the part they hide. If Robert claims at 62 at a 30% reduction, Linda's maximum survivor benefit is based on Robert's reduced amount, not his full retirement age amount. The widow's benefit is capped at what Robert was actually receiving, not what he would have received if he had waited. If Robert's full benefit would have been $2,240 and he collected a reduced $1,638, Linda's maximum survivor benefit is $1,438, not $2,340. Over Linda's remaining life expectancy, she is 59, she is female, she is in good health. The actuarial tables give her a life expectancy past 86. That difference is not $702 a month. That difference is $702 a month for potentially 20 or more years. That difference, compounded over Linda's lifetime, is not Robert's problem. It is Linda's poverty. The decision Robert makes at 62 does not just affect Robert. It follows Linda into her 80s. It follows her into whatever nursing facility she may need after 80. It follows her into every single decision she makes after the day she buries him. Robert does not know any of this. Ashley's article did not cover any of this. The SSA website has the information buried in FAQs that are written in the kind of language designed to technically disclose everything while making sure nobody actually understands it. This is not an accident. This system, the 1956 claiming age, the earnings test design, the survivor benefit cap, the railroad retirement offset interaction, was not assembled carelessly. The Joint Committee on Taxation has had 68 years to simplify the claiming rules for working Americans. Congress has amended the Social Security Act more than 30 times since 1956. Not once did they pass a provision requiring the SSA to proactively notify a claimant of the permanent survivor benefit reduction at the point of application. Not once. The notification requirement was discussed in committee hearings in 2018 and 2021. Both times it died. The insurance lobby did not want it. The annuity sellers did not want it. The financial services industry that profits from people making suboptimal Social Security decisions and then coming to them to fix the damage. They did not want a pop-up window at ssa.gov saying, "By the way, claiming now reduces your spouse's survival income by $702 a month forever." They designed the form to be easy to sign. The consequence was designed to be hard to see until it was done. According to the Social Security Trustees Report, published in 2025, approximately 2.7 million Americans claim Social Security retirement benefits annually. More than 30% claim at 62, the earliest possible age. That is over 800,000 people per year permanently locking in a reduced benefit without, in most cases, a full understanding of the survivor impact or the earnings test mechanics. The cumulative cost to American retirees in permanently surrendered lifetime benefits runs into the billions per year. The SSA collects the difference. Congress spends it. And every 6 months, a new wave of Facebook articles tells the next cohort of 61-year-olds to claim before the trust fund runs out. Speaking of the trust fund, let's address that directly, because it is the single most destructive piece of misinformation driving early claiming decisions right now. The Social Security Trustees Report 2025 projects that the combined trust fund reserves will be depleted by approximately 2033. This is real. This is documented. This is not a conspiracy theory. What is a conspiracy theory, or more precisely, a fundamental misunderstanding, is the conclusion that people draw from it. The trust fund depletion does not mean Social Security ends in 2033. Under current law, even after depletion, Social Security payroll tax revenue continues to flow in. The 2025 Trustees Report projects that after 2033, incoming revenues would cover approximately 79% of scheduled benefits. Not 0. 79%. If you claim at 62 to get yours before it runs out, and the realistic worst-case scenario is a 21% benefit cut in 2033, you have voluntarily taken a 30% permanent cut today to avoid a possible 21% cut in 7 years. The math on that does not work in your favor. It never did. The people who wrote those Facebook articles either did not run the numbers or did not care about the numbers. Tell me in the comments, are you 60, 61, or 62 right now? And are you feeling pressure from family, from articles, from your own anxiety about the trust fund to claim early? Tell me your state and your approximate projected benefit amount. I read every comment in this archive. We build the real analysis together, case by case, state by state, because generic advice, even well-intentioned generic advice, fails at the level of your specific situation. Now, let me show you why it fails by walking you through 3 real states where the same early claiming decision produces dramatically different outcomes. Start in Ohio. Robert's neighbor, Dave, retired electrical worker from Dayton, age 61. Ohio does not tax Social Security benefits at the state level. Ohio Revised Code. Section 5747.01 excludes Social Security from Ohio adjusted gross income. Dave's decision about when to claim has no state income tax component. The federal math is the only math. For Dave, the break-even analysis is clean. Claim at 62, receive $1,630 for life. Wait until 67, receive $2,340 for life. With Ohio's lower cost of living and no state SS tax, Dave has more runway to bridge the gap from savings or part-time work. The math favors waiting, but the penalty for not waiting is contained. Now move to Pennsylvania. Same scenario, same projected benefit, different calculus. Pennsylvania, under Act 77 of 1971, also exempts Social Security from state income tax, but Pennsylvania has a mandatory 3.07% flat income tax on other retirement income, including IRA distributions and pension income. If Dave's Pennsylvania equivalent is drawing from an IRA to bridge the gap while waiting to claim, he is paying 3.07% state tax on every dollar of that bridge income. This changes the net cost of waiting. The break-even point shifts slightly, not dramatically, but enough that the sequence of which income source to draw from first and in what amounts becomes a meaningful decision. Generic advice that says, always wait until 67 does not account for Pennsylvania's income tax structure on the bridge assets. Now go to Georgia. Georgia has a unique retirement income exclusion under Georgia Code, Section 48(7)-27. Residents 62 and older can exclude up to $35,000 of retirement income from state taxes. Residents 65 and older can exclude up to $65,000. For a Georgia retiree with a pension plus Social Security, Georgia's exclusion structure actually creates a strong incentive to optimize the timing of each income source to maximize what falls under the exclusion threshold. The decision about when to claim Social Security in Georgia is inseparable from the decision about how to draw pension income in the same year. Claiming at 62 in Georgia can sometimes be the right call, not because early claiming is ever abstractly smart, but because Georgia's tax structure changes the net lifetime value of the combined income stack in ways that a simple federal break-even calculator will not catch. 3 states. 3 different answers to the same question. This is why the Facebook article that Ashley sent Robert is not just wrong. It is wrong in a way that is specifically wrong for each person who reads it. Before I walk you through the 4 moves, I need you to do something right now. Think of one person in your life who is somewhere between 59 and 63. Maybe it's a sibling. Maybe it's a coworker who just got a buyout offer and is weighing the options. Maybe it's your spouse who started getting Social Security mailers and is reading them at the kitchen table with the same pen running out of ink that Robert was using this morning in Nashville. Send this video to that person, not later today. Right now. Open your phone, copy the link, send it before you watch the next segment. Because the claiming window doesn't announce itself. There is no letter that arrives 6 months in advance saying, "You're about to make an irreversible decision." The SSA website processes the application. It does not stop the timer from starting. The conversation you have with that person today, in a text, right now, is worth more than any planning session they will have with an advisor who is going to charge them $300 to tell them something they could have known for free. Now, the 4 moves. These are not generic. These are the specific mechanics that Robert, and anyone in a similar position, needs to understand before touching that SSA application. Move 1. Build the bridge. Protect the benefit. The primary reason people claim early is cash flow. The knee is done. The check stopped. The mortgage is still due. I understand the math of panic. But the solution to a cash flow problem is not permanently reducing the income stream that will feed you for the next 20 years. The solution is a structured bridge from existing assets, savings, IRA distributions, part-time income carefully calibrated below the earnings test threshold. Robert has $140,000 in a traditional IRA. Under IRC Prorogo 72T2, he can take substantially equal periodic payments from that IRA beginning before 59.5 without the 10% early withdrawal penalty, but he is already 61, so the 10% penalty is gone regardless. He can draw from the IRA strategically in amounts calibrated to stay below the 22% federal tax bracket to fund the 5-year bridge from 62 to 67. The IRA gets taxed either way. The question is whether the tax on the IRA is worth paying now to preserve the full, unreduced Social Security benefit for the rest of his life. The answer in almost every scenario I have seen with a benefit projection above $1,800 at FRA is yes. Not close. Decisively yes. Move 2. Understand the railroad retirement tier. I offset before you do anything else. Robert needs to call the Railroad Retirement Board, not his financial advisor, not the SSA, and get a written breakdown of exactly how his Tier Y benefit interacts with the Social Security claim at 62 versus 67. The RRB has field offices and a direct analysis service. Under the Railroad Retirement Act, Tier 1 is designed to be equivalent to what Robert would receive from Social Security, and the offset prevents double counting. But the sequencing and timing of how that offset applies when you claim Social Security early is not intuitive, and it is not explained in any consumer-facing SSA document. Robert's combined retirement income, Tier 1 plus Social Security, needs to be modeled as a single system, not 2 separate decisions. The reduction is not additive in a simple way. It is structural. A planner who has not done this specific calculation for railroad workers before will give Robert incorrect numbers. Get the analysis from the RRB. In writing. Move 3. Model the survivor benefit before Linda turns 60. Here is the timeline that most couples miss entirely. Linda is 59. She will reach 60 in approximately 12 months. Under Social Security Act Section 202E, a surviving spouse is eligible to begin collecting the widow's benefit as early as age 60, at a reduced rate or at full value at her own full retirement age. If Robert dies before Linda reaches her own FRA, Linda's options depend entirely on what Robert's benefit was at the time of his death. If Robert claims at 62 at a 30% reduction, Linda's survivor benefit maximum is locked to that reduced amount forever. If Robert waits until 67, Linda's survivor benefit is the full 2,740. The difference between those two outcomes over Linda's expected remaining lifespan past 60 is not trivial. It is the difference between a widow who is financially stable and a widow who is choosing between medication and groceries at 79. Model this now, not when Linda is 75 and Robert is gone. Now. Move 4. Address the trust fund anxiety with actual math, not emotion. Robert is afraid of the 2033 depletion projection. That fear is rational. The concern is real. The timeline is real. But the fear is being used to drive a decision that makes the fear worse, not better. Under current law, and this is federal statute, not my opinion, even after trust fund depletion, Social Security is funded by ongoing payroll tax receipts. The 2025 Trustees Report projects those receipts cover approximately 79 cents on the dollar of scheduled benefits after 2033. If Robert claims at 62, he is taking a permanent 30% cut to avoid a possible 21% cut in 7 years. Even if no legislative fix is passed, and every single Social Security shortfall in the program's history has eventually been addressed by Congress, the claim early math is still wrong. Robert would need the trust fund to go to zero, not to 79 cents, for early claiming to break even against the depletion fear. And Congress letting Social Security go to zero is not a realistic policy scenario. If it were, claiming early at 70 cents on the dollar wouldn't protect Robert anyway. Model the real numbers, not the Facebook headline. Robert went back inside from the garage. He put the legal pad on the kitchen table. He looked at the 3 numbers he had written down, the 62 benefit, the 67 benefit, the pension offset, and he drew a line through the first one. He didn't call Ashley back that night. He called the Railroad Retirement Board. That is the right call. That is the only call. Let me be direct with you about where you stand right now. If you are 61, you have approximately 12 months before the earliest claiming window opens. That is 12 months to model the survivor benefit, sequence the bridge assets, get the railroad or pension offset calculated correctly, and make a decision with full information instead of partial information and manufactured urgency. If you are 62 right now and you haven't filed yet, you still have the window. It narrows every week you don't model it. If you are 63, the early claiming option has passed, but the decision between 64, 65, 66, and 67 still has significant dollar value implications that are worth understanding before you sign anything. If you are 57 or 58, you are in the best possible position. You have time to build the bridge, structure the assets, and arrive at 67 with a full benefit and a wife who is financially protected if the worst happens. The window is not theoretical. It is a specific date on the Social Security Administration's calendar. Once you file, you cannot unfile without a 12-month rescission window. And even that reset has conditions and limitations under SSA regulations. The timer that starts when you sign is not a metaphor. It is a permanent mathematical reality. If you got value out of this analysis, if anything I said tonight changed the way you're thinking about your own timeline, hit the like button one more time on your way out. Not for me. For the algorithm that is actively deciding right now whether to show this to the next Robert in the next Nashville suburb who is standing in his garage with a legal pad and a pen running out of ink. Subscribe, turn on the bell, set it to all notifications so when the next piece lands in this archive, You see it before somebody else's Facebook article gets to you first. And leave me a comment. Tell me your age. Tell me your state. Tell me whether you're a railroad worker, a federal employee, a union tradesman, or something else entirely. Tell me the number on your SSA statement and what you're currently planning. I will read it. We will build the real analysis from real numbers, one comment at a time. Robert didn't sleep well the night Ashley called. He slept fine the night he called the Railroad Retirement Board. Know the difference between those two nights. Make the second call first.